All right, buckle up, everyone, because today we're going high, like way up high.
To the Andes Mountains.
Exactly. We're talking about a fox that calls those incredible peaks home.
It's the Andean Fox.
You got it. And we're not talking some cozy forest-dwelling creature here.
No, not at all.
These guys are thriving in, like, some of the harshest conditions imaginable. Think like freezing temps, thin air, the works.
And finding food, that's a whole other challenge.
Oh, for sure. So today, we're going to uncover how this canine not only survives, but really, like, flourishes.
Up in those mountains.
Yeah. It's a story of resilience, adaptation, all that good stuff.
It's really a testament to what nature can do.
Exactly. And speaking of resilience, the Andean fox, also called the culpaeus, they're
routinely found at altitudes like you wouldn't believe.
Really?
Yeah, like 4,000 meters.
Wow. That's higher than most ski resorts.
It is. Think about that thin air and those extreme temperature swings.
Right. It's just wild. So, like, physically, how do they even handle that? I mean, what do they look like?
Well, they're not massive,
Yeah.
about the size of a bigger domestic dog, I'd say.
Okay. So not like tiny, but not huge.
Right. But what they do have is this thick fur, grayish brown usually, with reddish highlights kind of on their legs and their tail.
Yeah, I mean, the tail. I was just thinking about that. That super bushy tail, right?
Yeah, and often tipped in black. It's really quite striking.
Okay, so stylish for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing it's not just for looks, right? Up in those mountains.
Oh, definitely not. Think about balance, right?
Oh, right. On those rocky slopes.
Exactly. Those steep slopes. You need all the help you can get.
Yeah, I can imagine. And what about those ears? I always see those, like, big erect ears in pictures.
Yeah. Perfect for picking up the faintest sound. Crucial when you're hunting in that vast, open terrain.
Okay, so they've got, like, the look, the gear for this extreme living. But what about fuel? What does an Andean fox even eat in such a harsh environment?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting. They're what we call opportunistic omnivores.
Opportunistic omnivores.
Yeah, so basically they'll eat pretty much anything they can get their paws on.
Oh, okay, so not picky eaters.
Not at all. It's a key survival tactic up there where, food sources can be super unpredictable.
Makes sense. So what does that actually look like? What are they, like, snacking on up there?
Well, imagine them hunting small mammals, right? Like rodents, rabbits.
Oh, yeah, I could see that.
But they've also been known to catch birds.
Birds? Wait, how do they catch birds?
Yeah, it's called mousing. Basically, they leap high into the air and come down with a force, pinning the bird to the ground.
Wow, that's amazing. So they're not just ground hunters then?
No, not at all. They're pretty versatile.
So rabbits, rodents, birds. What else is on the menu? Anything else?
Well, their diet also includes, fruits, berries.
Oh, okay, like foraging and stuff.
Right. Especially when meat is scarce, you got to be flexible.
Yeah, totally. And I've heard they sometimes target young sheep too, right?
Yeah, that can happen, which obviously creates conflict with local farmers.
Ah, okay. So that's where the sometimes unpopular with humans part comes in.
Exactly. It's this tightrope they walk, right?
Between being helpful by, like, controlling pests and being a nuisance.
Right. It highlights that complex relationship with the communities they share those mountains with.
Totally. So we've got this adaptable, stealthy hunter navigating a tough environment, sometimes causing some trouble. What about their, like, social lives? Are they lone wolves or more pack animals?
Well, that's a great question, and it really ties directly into their survival strategy. Unlike some other canids, the Andean fox is primarily solitary.
Oh, really? So no pack hunting or anything?
Not usually. It just makes more sense, given the limited food resources and the harsh conditions.
Yeah, I guess going it alone is probably more efficient in that kind of environment.
Exactly. Less competition.
Makes sense. But if they're mostly loners, how do they, like, avoid turf wars in such a vast landscape?
Well, they have a fascinating way of communicating, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Using scent. It's not just like simple scent marking like a dog peeing on a fire hydrant.
Right. Yeah.
They have specific anal glands
Okay.
that secrete a really complex mix of chemicals.
Oh, wow. So it's like their own chemical messaging system.
Yeah, you could think of it that way. It broadcasts all sorts of information like their identity, their health status, their reproductive availability.
Wow. So it's like their Facebook profile in scent form.
Exactly. It helps them avoid conflict, competition over resources,
So they're sending out those stay out of my territory vibes.
without even having to be there.
That's pretty smart,
Yeah.
especially in such a demanding place. But all this talk of survival, it makes me wonder, are they like actually doing okay, or are they facing an uphill battle?
Well, that's a question with kind of a complicated answer.
Okay.
The good news is they're currently listed as least concern, so they're not endangered.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's good. That's good.
without-
But
But there's always a but, right?
yeah, there's got to be a but.
There are definitely pressures on their populations that we need to think about.
Ah, okay. So it's not all like sunshine and mountain peaks for the Andean fox.
Not exactly. There's this story of resilience for sure, but also, yeah, some looming threats.
This is fascinating stuff. I feel like we've only just like scratched the surface here.
You're absolutely right. There's so much more to uncover.
Well, then let's dive even deeper. Stay with us as we continue to explore the intricate world of the Andean fox, their remarkable adaptations, the challenges they face, and the efforts underway to ensure their survival. Okay, so we're back.
Back in the Andes.
Yeah, with the amazing Andean fox.
Our resilient friend.
Yeah, exactly. And we've talked about their looks, their diet, that whole opportunistic omnivore thing.
Pretty adventurous eaters, right?
For sure. And even that chemical communication system.
Yeah, they're sent Facebook.
Right. But I'm really curious about the specifics of how they actually move and hunt in such a challenging environment.
Well, you got to remember those steep slopes, those rocky terrains, right? The vastness of the landscape.
Yeah, it's intense.
The Andean fox, they're incredibly agile and stealthy. They kind of have to be.
To survive, right.
Right, to catch their prey, to avoid becoming prey themselves.
Yeah, it's like a constant game of cat and mouse up there, isn't it?
It is, they're most active at dawn and dusk usually.
Oh, really? Why is that?
Well, think about it, the low light.
Okay.
It helps them avoid that harsh midday sun.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And also, it reduces their chances of bumping into some of the larger predators.
Oh, right, like pumas.
Pumas, yeah. Even domestic dogs can pose a threat.
Oh, wow. So they're like the shadows of the mountains, basically.
Yeah, moving silently, strategically.
That's pretty cool. But what about like their actual hunting techniques? How do they find and catch prey in such a like wide open space?
Well, first of all, their senses are just incredibly sharp.
I bet.
They use a combination of eyesight, hearing, and of course that amazing sense of smell.
To track down like a tiny rodent in all that open space.
Exactly. It's remarkable.
It really is. So, I mean, I'm assuming they're not just like wandering around hoping for the best.
No, definitely not. They're masters of patience and precision.
Oh, okay.
They often stalk their prey, using the terrain for cover,
Right.
moving slowly, deliberately, and then boom, they pounce with just incredible speed.
It's like a perfectly choreographed dance almost.
You could say that. And don't forget about that mousing technique.
Oh, right. The bird catching move.
Yeah, that leaping pounce. Really effective.
Okay, so agile, stealthy, skilled hunters. But I mean, even the best hunters need to refuel, right? So what happens once they've made a kill? Do they like share with others, or is it every fox for themselves?
Well, that's where their solitary nature comes in again.
Oh,
They usually consume their prey alone. No sharing, even with potential mates.
wow. So it's a lonely meal deal?
Yeah, you could say that. It just makes sense given the limited resources,
Yeah. But, we know they need to find each other eventually, right?
For the continuation of the species.
Exactly. So how does that work if they're mostly loners?
Well, mating season is the key time.
Okay.
It usually falls between July and August,
Ah.
and that's when those scent glands, those chemical messages become super important.
For their fox dating profiles.
Exactly. During mating season, males and females, they'll increase their scent marking.
To like advertise their presence.
Right. And their reproductive status, basically letting everyone know they're available.
It's like shouting it from the mountaintops, but with scent.
Yeah, something like that. And they'll also use vocalizations.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like high-pitched barks, howls.
Wow. Okay, so it's a combination of scent and sound.
To find that perfect match.
That's really cool. So once they've found each other, what happens next?
Well, after mating, the females, they typically give birth to litters of, 2 to 5 pups.
Oh, baby foxes.
Yeah, they usually make their dens in rock crevices or sometimes burrows.
Oh, okay. To stay protected.
Right, from the elements, from predators.
Makes sense. So are the pups like left to fend for themselves right away?
No, not at all. The mothers, they're very caring.
Oh, good.
They'll care for their pups for several months, nursing them, teaching them all the essential skills.
Oh, wow. Like hunting, navigating the terrain.
Exactly, avoiding danger. It's like Andean Fox survival school.
Yeah, a crash course in mountain living.
Exactly, preparing them for a life on their own.
Which, thinking about all those threats we talked about earlier, makes you wonder if those pups really have like a fighting chance.
That's a valid concern, and that's actually what we'll be exploring in the final part of our deep dive.
Oh, okay. So things are about to get a little serious.
We're gonna delve into the specific threats to the Andean fox,
Yep.
and the efforts to protect them.
All right. Well, I'm definitely ready for that. Stay tuned, everyone, as we examine the future of this truly remarkable creature. Okay, so we've scaled those incredible Andean peaks,
Explored the Andean fox's amazing adaptations.
witnessed their hunting skills, their agility.
It's been quite a journey.
It really has. But now it's time to face, the big question, the crucial question.
Future.
Yeah, what does the future hold for these incredible canines? We know they're facing threats, so.
Right. Despite their adaptability, they're up against some pretty significant challenges.
Right. So let's talk about those. What are the most pressing ones?
Well, I think habitat loss is definitely a major one.
Yeah, I can imagine.
As human populations grow,
Right.
our demands on the environment, they keep increasing, right?
Agriculture, mining, urbanization.
Exactly. All those things contribute to habitat fragmentation, degradation.
So basically we're squeezing them out of their own home.
In a nutshell, yeah.
It's a sad story, but it's one we hear a lot, unfortunately.
It is. And then, there's the poaching issue, which we touched on earlier.
Right. Is that still a significant threat?
Sadly, it is. Their fur, especially that bushy tail,
Yeah, it's beautiful.
it makes them a target for the illegal wildlife trade.
It's hard to believe that something as superficial as fur could drive such a serious threat.
Yeah. It's a reminder that, even in those remote mountain areas, they're not immune to human exploitation.
Yeah, that's really disheartening. And then of course there's the conflict with farmers, that kind of delicate balance.
Right, that we talked about earlier.
Yeah. Has that situation like improved at all, or are they still seen primarily as pests?
Well, it's still complicated, to be honest.
Yeah.
When foxes target livestock, it often leads to retaliatory killings by farmers.
Yeah, who are just, they're trying to protect their livelihood.
Exactly. It's understandable, but it creates this cycle of conflict, right?
Right. That's not good for anyone, really.
No, it's detrimental to both foxes and humans.
Yeah. It makes you wonder if there's any hope.
Well, that's where the story takes a more positive turn, actually.
Oh, you got good.
There are a number of conservation initiatives underway.
Oh, that's great to hear.
Yeah, organizations are working to protect and restore habitat,
Okay.
promote responsible land management practices, and really importantly, educate local communities.
About the importance of coexisting.
Exactly. It's about finding ways for humans and foxes to share the landscape.
Right. Not seeing it as this us versus them kind of thing.
Exactly. So some initiatives they focus on non-lethal methods of like deterring foxes.
Oh, okay. Like what kinds of things?
Well, things like guard dogs,
Oh, okay.
electric fences,
Right.
things like that. And others work directly with farmers, raising awareness about the ecological benefits of having Andean foxes around.
Right, because they do help control rodent populations, right?
Exactly. Which can actually benefit the farmers in the long run.
Yeah, so it's like shifting that whole narrative.
From pests to the valuable member of the ecosystem.
Right. It sounds like it requires a pretty multifaceted approach to really make a difference.
Absolutely. It involves, scientists, conservationists, local communities, even policymakers.
Well, it's a big effort.
It is, but, it's about creating a future where both humans and Andean foxes can thrive.
Well, after this deep dive, I'm definitely rooting for them.
Me too.
They're just such a testament to nature's resilience.